Hi, I'm Charlie Lias. I am an obstetrician, and readiness for practice, I think part of my life has been getting people ready for life, maybe as an OB doctor. One of the, I'll add one of my things that I'm doing in working with Shannon Neal here on the Children's Health Initiative, which has actually been one of the more fun things I've ever done in my life. So Shannon is really fun to work with, and you'll enjoy her talk. I'll break this down kind of simply to what I think practice readiness means, and this is for you who think you are getting ready for practice. It is for you who are mentoring people to become ready for practice. And actually, it's for you that are onboarding people onto practice when you're trying to all learn them. If you kind of think of three principles, the first one is the technical, which we've spoke about, but that's where we spent 90% of our talking, actually, when you're really doing it. What do you do? How do you do it? Suturing classes. What are the right dosages? How do we get the right Sudafed, which Gwen just had, she told me. And how do you show up? How do you log onto Epic? And this is sort of like Maslow's first case of need for teaching and for mentoring and for learning. You know, if you go to a new situation, you want to know where are the bathrooms, where do I sit, which order do we sit in? So it's the technical. The second part that really gets evolved with it, which I think we're almost good at, is the resources. So the next thing you learn or you teach or you show is what resources are available. It could be simple. Who is the triage nurse? How do I access Virtual? How do I talk to the pharmacist? Who's a cardiologist? How do I get endocrinology? In the old days, and you'll remember this, Dave, we used to have Rolodexes. And these were our resources, and you held on to them. And I think as you're learning and as you're teaching and as you're mentoring, you're concentrating on that level. But the level that is the deficit, the delta, the level that actually gets you to the complexity of medicine that you have to have is the relationship. We focused a little bit on relationship between us and them. That would be us and the patient. But I think this relationship training is with each other. Felix brought up the complexity versus complex, complex being a plain, complexity is a flock of birds. But if you look at a flock of birds and you sat down and said, how could I recreate that on a computer program? It's really about 2 or 3 rules will do that. Like bird A has to have one bird 6 inches to its left and 2 inches ahead of it. And you just start with a simple rule of relationships to each other, and you'll get a complex system working in a coordinated way. And so the part that I think we're not focusing on, training on, the part that makes every day a new day, every day a day to be practice ready, is that part of relationship to each other, or how do we get these things done. And this is maybe why we have, after all of your frustration, Dave, in working with things, those silos that keep showing up, why we sit down and our patients go, when you go from point A and you go to point B, there is no way to know that. This would be, I think, is our delta. So if you're the educators, I would say focus as much as you can on relationship. If you're mentoring, don't forget when you bring somebody in, work on that relationship. And for you that are just coming out in practice, seek a mentor, seek those relationships, and you'll find it to go smoother. So that's my old sage advice.